We have a really good topic to talk about today, and it's all about getting official for your business. And so I know you may have come up with a name for your business. You probably know what you actually want to sell for your business. And now it's kind of like, okay, what are the next steps? I know what I want to do. I know what I want to call it. So basically, it's time to really get official. And sometimes I know a lot of people, they try to treat this like a hobby, or they treat it like, well, let's just see if I do this before I do this. Or it's always like kind of like, well, if this happens, then I'll register with my state. Or if this happens, then I will get my own website. And to me, I feel like it's so important to set yourself up for success from the beginning. And that way it sets the tone first off to your just mind, maybe unintentionally, that, okay, yes, I'm gonna go for this, I'm gonna make it happen, and I'm gonna succeed. I think sometimes we get ourselves caught up in playing it safe that we end up selling ourselves short from our full potential of what we can do. And I personally am guilty of this. I'm guilty of it right now. It's something I'll share in another video with you guys, but basically, I wanted to share with you exactly what are some of the first steps you can take to get your business official. So if that's something you're interested in, then just keep watching. Change is crazy. Yeah. Change is crazy. Yeah. I will always love you. Hey guys, welcome back to Stationary Muse channel. My name is Tatiana, and I am a mentor and business coach for women that are interested in starting their own creative businesses. And every Tuesday, I make new business videos for you guys. I love filming these videos, and I apologize if my throat or my voice sounds a little bit scratchy. It is literally, this is the first thing I'm doing this morning when I woke up, because I chose to wait till the last minute to film this video. And so that is what happens. But anyway, okay, so before we dive into that topic, I wanted to really quickly just tell you guys that the First 10 training is coming back, and I'm so excited. I'm going to be teaching it 2 more times live, and that will be it as far as me teaching it live. I have some really fun stuff coming around the First 10 training, so definitely stay tuned for that. So this training was designed to help women start their own creative businesses, specifically product-based businesses, and we walk through kind of what I call the foundation, the who, the what, the why, and then we move into actually getting official, which is something we're going to talk about here. I give you tips on how to name your business, and then we move into creating the product. I give you all of my tips, manufacturer ideas, etc. All of that will be part of the product creation, the product offering. We work on that, how to come up with your features and benefits for your products. Then we move into your launch strategy, and we talk about that. We talk about building a mailing list, and then we finish up with the actual launch and moving forward into the future. So we cover a lot in the 90 minutes that we're together, but what I love so much about this training, I taught it twice already, is just the light bulbs that come on during it, and also the amount of to-dos that you leave with, because ultimately I like to give people action and things to do, to take away. Same with these videos. I love for you guys to, of course, get inspired, but I want you to have some actual things you can write down on your to-do list to start working towards making your business your reality. And so if you are interested in learning more about the First 10 training, the link is down below to get on the waiting list. I will be announcing the dates very soon. I promise you guys, it's going to be amazing. I've even added a couple things since the last one, just because of some of the different questions and things. I want to make it the best it can possibly be. And so, like I said, this is the last time I'm going to be teaching it live, and then it's going to kind of birth into something a little bit different. So if you want to get in on this and get in on the low cost that it is right now, now is the time. So yeah, just click on that link down below and you'll get all the information very soon if you're on the wait list. So, all right, let's get into this video. A lot of times we can get so caught up in the big picture of things, and it can be very hard to focus on what is the exact step. And it's really nice to have a roadmap laid out for you when it's just like someone's like, okay, I'm gonna take your hand and we're gonna walk down this street, and at each stop sign there's gonna be something different that we're gonna do. And so that's kind of what this is a little bit, just to kind of give you some of those first steps for getting official, because it can be kind of confusing. And so the first step is to register with your state. And even more specifically, you need to select what business entity you want to use. So there are a lot of entities out there. You can be a sole proprietor, you can be a partnership, a LLC, a S Corp, a corporation. I think I might be missing one or two, but definitely this requires a Google search on your part to figure out what is going to be the best fit for your business. One thing I will say, through my own personal research, I found that an LLC, limited liability corporation, ended up being the best for me for both my businesses, and it's the one that I have. And one of the benefits that you'll read that I personally know just off the back of my head, because I'm not like, I don't remember all of this stuff, but one thing I know for sure is that it really does protect you. So let's just say, for example, you got sued for some reason, which I hope none of you guys get sued, but you never know. It's nice to plan for it just in case. And with the LLC, it'll actually protect you and your personal assets from being affected or being taken. If your business was to get sued, they would only go for your business assets. And that is with the LLC, I believe even with a corporation as well. So something to consider, because I think that a lot of times we'll just stick with sole proprietor because we think like, oh, it's just a hobby. And there's a whole thing that goes into that with taxes and all that stuff. All of this stuff plays a role in the tax world, which I'm definitely not an expert in. I ended up taking a course this year to become better with my own bookkeeping and accounting, because I just was like really not all the way there with that, which is fine. That's just not my ministry. What I basically want to say is, so yeah, do the research, figure out what entity you want to be, and then go to your state's website to register for that. And so most of the states I've lived in, well, the two where I registered businesses, I registered before in North Carolina and here in New Mexico, and both of them were on the Secretary of State website. So check your state's website to see what the process is for you. Every state is a bit different. I know in North Carolina, I had to pay $250, y'all. Here in New Mexico, it's $50 for an LLC. So it really just depends on your state. I even read where like California was like $800 or something like that, which is really crazy to think about compared to what I've paid, and it's like $800 a year. So you'll want to look into that, plan for it, especially if you have to budget for it or find those funds to get it set up. But you want to do that as soon as possible. It's so important to just start off the right way, and doing all these things, kind of getting your ducks in a row, will really help you to feel more confident as you are starting this business, because I know it can be scary. I know it's intimidating and there's a lot of overwhelm around it. But if you work through these steps and just one by one, eventually you'll look back and be like, oh, look at all that road that I've walked past already. Like, look at the amount of stop signs that I've already gone through, and just focus on each step at a time. So right now, just focus on which business entity you want to be. Once you get that research down, watch a couple videos, do a Google search, write some stuff down in your notebook or in your notes to figure out what's the best for you. Talk to some experts if you need to, and make that decision. So get registered. Definitely get registered. And then after you register with your state, for me, I noticed it's not really a long process at all. I think I've gotten both of mine. It was like the same day. When I registered in North Carolina, it was like 3 or 4 years ago. So the process may have changed, but I think it took a little longer than one day for me to get it. But I just registered my new business coaching business, and it literally was like a few hours. Not even that. It was like within 20 minutes or something. I got the certificate to my email. And the certificate basically just says, hey, this business name LLC is registered here in this state. Not even congratulations, but you're good to go. So then from there, you can take that certificate and you can get your EIN number. And that is the next thing I would suggest to do. So EIN number, essentially, I always look at it kind of like a social security number for your business, but for tax purposes. And you can also use it for, I've even seen, like, I used to work at Best Buy years ago, and people would bring in their tax exempt card, like they wouldn't have to pay taxes, and that EIN number would be tied to that card. So there's different benefits and things you can get from getting that number set up, and you get it through the IRS.gov website. It's another super easy process, and this one is free to get. So you've already gotten your certificate, and now you just get the EIN number through the IRS. You plug in some information, and as long as you've done that first step, then the second step should pretty much just follow easily, and you can get that set up. And that number is also going to help you with another suggestion that I have for you guys, is to open up a business bank account. And I just really suggest this early on, even if you have not made a dime, y'all. Opening a business bank account is just going to save you a lot of headache in the long run when it's time for your taxes. This again just goes back to the whole setting yourself up for success. I always think that is just like such an important thing. We don't always think about it because, like I said, you're kind of like, oh, I'm just gonna make some money here and there, so it's not a big deal. But I promise you, it's less confusing when your funds for your business are in your business account and then you have your personal stuff separately. Whether you don't plan on doing a lot with it or you plan on blowing up, which I hope you do, I want you guys to set big goals, have big dreams, and go for them. One of the podcasts I listened to is Jessica Stansberry, and one of her episodes was Stop Playing Small. And I just can't stop thinking about that in this situation, because I know some people are thinking like, oh, my business isn't there yet for me to do these steps, but you can do this before your business starts. And it just really gives you the best stage for making things happen. And so don't play small, go ahead, get your business bank account set up. That's another process. It is pretty easy. I know some bank accounts require you to start with a balance, like $50, $100, some maybe more, I'm not sure. But I would definitely set that up, do some research, look for your local bank, get some reviews, talk to some other business owners in your area and see what they're using to kind of get yourself jump started and get that going. So then as you're creating all of your different accounts, like let's say you got a Shopify or you got your hosting, which we're going to talk about next, anything related to your business, all of those charges can just come out of your business account, and that way you can just track it a lot easier. I promise you guys, just open the business bank account. So the next thing is, as I kind of mentioned a little bit, is to lock down your name. And now this can actually be interchangeable. Like you could even do this once you get your LLC registered. There's really no specific order to this stuff. I actually think this step probably could go before the last two, because you want to make sure that your business name is available where you need it to be. And what I mean by that is, okay, let's say you've decided on a name, you looked and you saw that your LLC was available in your state. You're good to go, you registered, and then you go and you look and you see on Instagram that your handle is taken, or you go on to YouTube because you may want to make a YouTube channel, you may not, but I suggest, even if you don't plan on using a social media platform, I would get them all at once. Just do it. Even if you're like, I ain't making no TikTok, just get a TikTok account with a name, because you never know what will happen. You never know how quickly things can change. So you always want to just get everything. Like I said, just set yourself up in the event that you do end up using it all. Even though you might want to just start with one or two, you'll already have those in your back pocket if you're ready. And I would just look and make sure that all of those different things are available, because what you may find is that that business name has been taken in the way that you thought you would have your handle. So then you may have to do some changes. You may have to add like an underscore. You may have to just kind of change the name in general. I know some people are like, no, I wanted that handle. And you may change your business name. You may have to reach out to somebody and be like, hey, you're not using this account. Can you give me this handle? There's so many different things. So just make sure to get all of this stuff up front, and then that way you don't have to worry about it being taken later. And that is the same with your domain name. I've heard time and time again, even one of my good friends that I'm helping with her business that she's launching, she was like, oh yeah, I think I'm just gonna kind of wait on the website until this. And I really think you guys should still get the domain name, even if you have no intention of starting your website from the beginning, which I feel like you should. Even if your website is literally just a place where people can come and drop their email, have something that is yours, because you just never know. And even if you did have like an Etsy account or something like that, you can have your domain name, which is basically like www.yourbusinessname.com. that could forward to your Etsy shop. So if somebody was to type that in, it would just go straight to Etsy. So that's a really cool feature as well. And that's kind of the same way Shopify works, honestly. You get a domain name with a host, and then it can get sent to Shopify. So something to consider. I think that it's really important to have that and get that as well, because that can be taken. And those domain names are really, for the most part, inexpensive. I mean, there are some that are outrageously priced depending on what the name is you're going for, but typically they're under $20 a year. So you pay once a year to have the thing, and then it's just yours. So strongly suggest getting the domain name, social media accounts, and then also set up your professional business emails. I always like to have two set up. And one of the emails is usually more like customer facing. So if someone was to reach out and they wanted to ask a question, I would have, for example, like my email for my business, it's hello@tatianamuse.com. And so that is the email that I really would put on like business cards. I would have that on social media platforms. It's the one I would give people if they're like, hey, what's your email so I can reach out? That is more like my customer facing one. And then I have my second email, which is info@tatianamuse.com. And that is the one where I use to sign up for all of my different like there's so many subscriptions, you guys, but like, let's just say I have like an Instagram scheduler, Trello. I'm just trying to name just some different things. All those types of accounts, I would sign up using that. Or if I'm placing an order for something, I would do it. Same with the Stationary Muse. I have the Stationary Muse at Gmail, and that is what I use. Well, actually, I started my business with the Stationary Muse at Gmail back in 2016, which I'm just like, why did you do that? Because I actually had my customer email was inquiries at the Stationary Muse at the time. It's different now. And I never used it. I didn't share, like I would just have my Gmail and everything. And I feel like that's kind of unprofessional. I don't know. Y'all tell me what you think, but I wish I could have started mine with it. So like I still have customers to this day reaching out to me on that Gmail, even though I've switched over to a more like customer facing professional email. So it's just interesting how that works, but definitely something to consider upfront in the beginning. Where do you want people to contact you? How do you want them to reach out to you? And even if you do have a customer email, you can have it forward to a normal Gmail as well if you don't want to have to check multiple inboxes. There's a lot of ways to get around this to make it work for you. So definitely look into those suggestions, tons of options with that, but I highly suggest getting that professional business email. It just really makes you look even that much more polished and ready to go. So we basically have worked through the Get Official checklist, is what I call it. It's one of the things that I work through with my clients. This is kind of a bonus one first off. So let's say you are in the process of getting all these things done and now you're working on a journal or you're working on a workbook or an ebook or anything like that. And maybe you realize like, hey, I think I want to get this protected, like copyright. So if you are interested in getting something copywritten, you can go to, I'll have that website down below as well, but it's copyright.gov, I believe. And that website, you can register your literary works. You can register up to 10 of them. And I believe they just recently made the amount more. I want to say it was $50 before, now it might be like 60 or 65. It's on that site. But anyway, you can register up to 10 things. So let's say you have a journal, a PDF page, I don't know, just some random different things you want to copyright. You can copyright up to 10, and then you submit it. They'll send you back an application or a certificate. I actually got a song copywritten like way back in like 2009, and I got like a little certificate saying that it was done. So I don't know if they still do the certificates, but something, either way, I think it's more digital nowadays, but you can register that stuff, get it copywritten, and then you'll be good to go. If you feel like you want to get protected, I know there's kind of like this unwritten rule that if it's something you created, you have the original source, you're usually good as far as like being protected. But if you really want to make sure, you can go ahead and do this. And honestly, if you're registering up to 10 things, it's really not that bad cost either. And also with trademarks are very involved. It's something that I've been looking into myself personally for about the last year or two. And what I've come to find is that it's probably best to just get a lawyer to help you, or a legal professional of some sort, to just kind of walk you through the process to just make sure you're doing it the right way, because there's a lot of different types of trademarks. Like you might register for just your logo, or you might register for just the name, and there's different ways, and then within that it's different categories and all this stuff. So you want to make sure it's done right, and then if someone else is already registered for your trademark, then it would be denied. So it's just a matter of knowing the right way to do it. I know the average person can do it, and they have done it, but I always just suggest to people, if you want to do something right and you don't want to waste your money or run into an issue and then you don't know what to do next, it might be best on that situation to work with a professional. So that was kind of like a little bonus section because I feel like those are part of being official as well. But the last thing I wanted to say to you guys is, to me, above all, the icing on the cake is to just put it out there that you are doing this thing. Maybe you don't have your official launch date yet, but maybe you just got your LLC certificate in the mail, or maybe you just opened your bank account, or whatever the case is, you got your domain name, your social media accounts are locked down. Announce it to your people, your family and your friends. Let them know, like, hey, I'm working on something amazing. Go follow my pages, sign up for my mailing list, whatever the case is. While maybe like you have your domain name set up and people can go and sign up on that mailing list. You know, I'm big on those mailing lists. Anything like that to kind of get the buzz created early on, even though you're not quite ready to sell anything to anybody. When you put stuff out there into the world and you share it, it's almost like this unseen accountability that you create, because now in the back of your mind, if you decide like, oh, you know what, I think I'm just not gonna do this, or whatever the case, you've already put in the time to get all this official stuff set up, but you've also announced it. You know, you've put it out there, and I think it just does something different to our mind when we've shared it with people. It's like, okay, well, I can't not do it now, because I talked about it. We all go through that whole thing. Even me as a business coach, I go through those things myself, because we are our biggest critics. We know ourselves, and sometimes it's a lot harder to motivate yourself to get going. But in any event, I hope that all of these tips helped you guys with getting started with your businesses. I'm rooting for you always and forever. I hope that you are allowing yourself the time, giving yourself the grace, and just believing that you can do it. It is a crazy time right now. There's a lot going on, and I actually put up, I don't know, what did I say this? I think I said it in my newsletter I sent out earlier this week, but try to find the joy in your day. Try to find moments to smile and be happy, because regardless of what's going on around us, we don't ever want to lose sight of the people that are right there, that are still with us, and the moments that are blessings within our own lives. And it can be really easy to get caught up in a lot of the negative things going on, and I never want that for anyone. I mean, I'm guilty of it. We all are, but at some point we have to kind of turn that light back on and be like, okay, I have this beautiful life here in front of me. Let me enjoy it. I have this amazing business I want to create. Let me focus and put all my energy into that. You know, so just different things to think about. Just something I wanted to say before I close out with you guys. But let me know below if you are in any of these steps. What step are you on? If you've started the process of getting official, what have you done? What haven't you done? I would love to hear about it. And if you guys are interested in the First 10 training, that link will be down below to get on the waiting list. I'm really excited for it. There's a workbook, 90 minutes, Q&A with me, all of the things. I'm so excited about it. So more to come on that. But I will see you guys in the next video. Please have an amazing day or night as you're watching this, and I'll see you next time. Bye.